So on that sheet, we continue to go through these questions that the Bishop has asked us to look at. And if you remember, there were 4 areas that were pointed out, listed in the Code of Canon Law, that are to be the hallmarks of any parish: worshipping, teaching, serving, and building community life. Last week, we looked at serving and community. So this week, we'll look at the first 2, worship and teaching. So again, I'll just run through the questions, give you a chance to think about them. If you want to make a reply, give us a written response at some stage, but that's entirely up to you, or you can come along to the meeting that we'll be having on the 26th of March. That's a week on Thursday at 6:30 at St. Joseph's School. So the questions under worship. This is about celebrating the sacraments as places of encounter. How do people experience our masses and sacramental celebrations? How do we think this might change in the next 5 to 8 years? How do we support families before and after sacraments? What helps people stay connected after moments of encounter? What prayer opportunities exist beyond the Mass? What would it look like if there were, it gives here 3, 2, or even 1 priest in your area? Well, at the present moment you have me in Billingham. As I mentioned last week, I think you have to look at that being much reduced in the future, quite possibly sharing 1 priest between here and Stockton. And where would they live? What 3 Sunday Masses could be offered by each priest? In canon law, a priest is only allowed to celebrate 3 Masses on the Sunday. In theory, the 3rd one is only supposed to be if there is serious pastoral need. On a personal note, I'll say 2 parishes ago in Gateshead, I used to celebrate 3 Sunday Masses. And to be honest, by the end of that, if I had a baptism, sometimes I had to celebrate the African Mass, because we had an African Mass in Gateshead. But by the time it got to tea time, I had to lie down in a dark room with a damp towel pressed to my head. It's exhausting celebrating 3 Masses. And then if you've got baptisms, and if you have an evening service, I was also chaplain to the Association of the Eucharist, so we had exposition every now and again as well. So you have to think about that. And that was 20 years ago. I'm a little bit older now. Just a little bit. How might worship continue if we had no resident priest? Are we burying more parishioners than we baptize? We only bury dead parishioners, I'll let you know that. Teaching, handing on the faith. How are people of all ages in the community growing in faith and their understanding of it? And again, how might this look in 5 to 8 years? How do young people learn, lead, and serve today? And how might we strengthen this in the future? How do we work with our Catholic schools now? And how might that partnership develop? Our catechetical programs, that's the stuff, of course, about preparing people for the sacraments and their growing in faith. How sustainable are these? And then finally, how are we preparing for future leaders and catechists? So those are the questions that we are asked to look at. And as I said, if you want to write something down, you're welcome to, and hand it in. You're welcome to come along to the meeting on the 26th of March. We'll look at these questions, the ones we looked at last week. We'll look at a few more things this Sunday coming as well to consider, and we'll also be looking at what we're thinking about St. Joseph's Church, all in that one meeting.